Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second part of our Adobe Live session from yesterday with the wonderful Weronika Raffa. How are you, Weronika?
Hi, great to be here again. Looking forward to what we come up with.
Oh, yeah. So I want to say hello to our new viewers today, and of course, our fans who were here yesterday on the chat community. So if you are watching us on YouTube, do switch to behance.net/live so we can answer your questions, that you can be part of this amazing challenge that we're working on today. So a small recap yesterday with the wonderful Weronika, we decided to work on a holiday card as part of a survival kit for the holidays. We did learn about Veronika's wonderful tips on Illustrator on the iPad. Today, we're going to focus on the Illustrator app on desktop. Is that right, Weronika?
Yes, we will be mainly working with the desktop app today because we are finishing our designs and we're assembling them for printing and for final posting on Instagram.
Yeah, and thanks to the wonderful audience yesterday, we got to pick some options from the options that you had. We picked a typeset, we picked the color palette, we even picked a messaging that's gonna go on the holiday card. So far, we decided on "Wake Me Up in 2021." So we are open for suggestions if you want to throw it in the chat while we're doing the live stream, in case we can do a second option and if we have time for it. So yeah, a big hello to everyone again. And I just wanted to remind you that we also have a creative challenge going on through Adobe with Camilo. We're going to have his Instagram link shared on the chat right now so you can check out and learn how you can participate. There's two prizes, 1 year CC subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud, and of course a special print by Camilo. Do join us because it's going to be awesome to see all the creations you're doing and, you know, adding some festivity vibes during these weird times. So yeah, I can't wait to start with Weronika right now. Weronika, let's see what we have for today.
Oh God, let's. Can we show my screen?
Yes.
So just as a quick recap, this whole idea started with creating a holiday survival kit because 2020 was such a crazy year, I think, for us as creatives and for everyone else. And yesterday we were talking about and thinking about what objects and what design elements we could place in the kit so that 2020 becomes a little bit less gloomy. Just for the new viewers and for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Weronika and I'm mainly a branding designer. So I worked on a lot of exhibition identities and a lot of branding projects, mainly in London but for the world market. And some of the companies I worked for are Coca-Cola, Adidas, and at agencies such as Wolf Ollins Design Studio or Wyden & Kennedy, for example. Mm-hmm. So my main day-to-day life, I would say, is branding and identity design, although I do a bit of illustrations on the side. So just as a quick recap yesterday, so this is a 2-day stream, 2-day project. And yesterday we were looking at creating individual elements such as illustrations. And we use the newly released Adobe Illustrator on the iPad for that. I'm still struggling a bit with this software, to be honest, but hopefully I managed to share some of the useful tips and shortcuts.
You definitely did. I learned things as well, so.
oh my God, it's still I still need to learn a lot, but I think the more you work in it, the more intuitive it gets. Right, so this is something new we're doing with this stream. And that's sort of taking the audience into account. So yesterday, you had a choice of either designing postcards or stickers as the first object we could put into our holiday survival kit. Let's not forget someone suggested beer bottles as well, and beer labels, so I have that in mind. And we took postcards to develop further. So some of the other ideas, some of the other things, as Natalie mentioned, were the typeset, and we moved forward with typeset number 2, which is based on the Orpheus Probot type, a serif typeface that you can download yourself into if you want, using just looking for it here in the Adobe fonts family. And we also picked a color set. And again, that was a color set too, which was less saturated, which was a bit more muted. I must say, I'm a bit afraid of this one, but yesterday I tested it a little bit, so it actually works. So thank you, audience, for picking the right color set. I think we can do something good with this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I think this is day 2, and I wrote some to-do lists for our day 2. So first of all, this is something I'll be talking about during the stream just as we go. So these are some of my favorite things to do with type in Illustrator. But also here, and Natalie, please interrupt me whenever I forget to do that. I thought that, because I thought as a graphic designer, and especially as a branding designer, when I'm in a rush or when I'm developing something in Illustrator, I just tend to move really quickly and I forget myself. Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned yesterday, I love the shortcuts. So when I use a shortcut that I particularly like, I want to put it here. I want to put it in a list, which you can screenshot later. And then, so yeah, remind me if I forget to do that. So then later on, we can see what shortcuts I'm using right now and what shortcuts really make my life easier.
That's very helpful. And I do remember that yesterday, someone from the chat did ask about the shortcuts. So thank you so much for, on that. So let's do that when we wrap it up. We take a screenshot and we put it on Discord where everyone can join in after the stream.
Yeah, we'll do this. I'll list it here. I'm actually interested to see how this board looks at the end of the stream. Yeah, so also, don't worry, because the thing with shortcuts is they are really dependent on, first of all, who you are as a creative, and then next, what are your working habits. So one person will like these shortcuts more, and another person will rely on these ones. So my shortcuts, again, are applicable to my work as a branding designer, but you'll explore shortcuts you like.
Yes.
Or, you can comment with your favorite shortcuts. Maybe, I bet there are some I don't know. So that would be great.
Yeah, of course. Anyone has a favorite shortcut on Illustrator.
I think Tony will now just post a long list probably, and we'll be reading it after tomorrow.
Tony Harmer on the chat today. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Tony.
Been fantastic in his streams. So yeah, we can't wait to see him back again. We actually have a few surprises coming up for next week, so stay tuned, everyone.
All right. So just for the new creatives who are joining us, I actually have 3 documents here. The first one is sort of the summary one, which I'll be sort of like a management file, and we'll be recording the shortcuts here. This is our main postcard document, and here I have some assets we were working on yesterday. Wow. So just to update you a little bit, because yesterday there were a couple of things which I thought I would work on later, so before today. So some things I updated. For example, for the person who suggested cassette, we actually traced some of the elements yesterday in Illustrator, but I traced it as rectangles. So what I did after the stream was over, I changed the corners on these rectangles. Can you see here? And that made, let me just change it back to 0. So instead of a sharp angle, I actually made it smoother. And this is great for like web buttons or applications, but also for logos, I find, because some companies just really like these soft angles. So actually what we did, so that's a photo behind the cassette. But actually what you can see is this cassette, this illustration is just created from very simple shapes. And you can do it either on the desktop version of Illustrator or the iPad one. The iPad one won't allow you to change some of these things, like the corners I just did, but you will be able to do most of the things. The trickiest part here, let me use, I'm using a shortcut. Okay, hold on, let me just record it. Quickly. So that was Command 0. Oh. So that's actually, you're zooming in on the board that you're working in, and it just, why is it? I must have put something there. And it just becomes, just like pops into your viewport. So if you want to trace the cassette, the trickiest element yesterday was actually these little circles and these little spiky bits. So that took me some time. But other than that, it's just very simple. And as you can see, the cassette currently is in our chosen color, which is that really light purple. And I noticed that a similar color is on Adobe Intro. So I'm wondering whether someone just chose it subconsciously. All right, so this is our document with our assets, such as illustrations, or in case of this board with a chicken, photography, which we'll just take from as we're working to create like postcards. So let's go back in. So our document with a postcard. Oh, I think it's just
lost Weronika for.
No.
We lost you for a few seconds, but no worries. Maybe.
Am I back right now?
Yes.
Okay. If that happens again, Natalie, you have to go into monologue or start singing something.
Yeah, I've been practicing that, so just in case. Worst case scenario.
I mean, who knows? Maybe this will be best case scenario. Maybe the audience will join. Who knows?
Discovering my new talent. I mean, I've been watching Seinfeld, like rewatching actually for the past, I don't know how many years. So maybe that is it. But anyway, so holiday card.
Right. Right. So I think that the most challenging thing with a holiday card is coming up with the idea, I think. So here are some of the examples I showed yesterday, and because I like typography, these were mainly based on typography. I have some like backup sketches here with some just really quickly sketch type. But the most challenging part will be coming up with the idea. So we are cheating a little bit because we'll just be working with different elements. But in real life, you will probably have to come up with the idea first. Okay, so here, what I have here, this is something I did very late at night yesterday. So that wasn't here. That wasn't here on this board yesterday.
No, we did see your stories on Instagram. You've been pretty productive, which is awesome.
Yeah, you know what? Because sometimes, do you know that moment? Sometimes you are just so tired and can't do anything, but sometimes it sort of like clicks and happens, and then like you're afraid to stop almost.
Yeah, of course. Like once you're at it, just keep going.
Yeah, so, by the way, about Instagram, thank you for all the wonderful messages I got yesterday. If you want to chat to me about anything, or if you have a shortcut that you want to discuss, feel free to message me. And this is my Instagram handle. That's GRRAFFA.
Yeah, we're going to share it out in the chat.
Always nice to get messages, and thank you for that. Okay, so what did I do here? And by the way, I have some references here on the side. The upper one is from Wolf Ollins, and the lower one is from Jessica Walsh's studio and Walsh. And these are examples of things we can do either with a postcard, a poster, or a digital post. So for example, you see Wolf Ollins really champions the lettering, and this is a very positive message and very creative one. Whereas what Jessica Walsh's studio does, well, one thing is they have a really interesting typeface, which I believe they developed themselves. But also what they are doing here with this banner, they are dividing the layout in a way that here on the side they're placing patterns and illustrations. There are even illustrations here. And in the center is the type. So we can, once we're designing our cards, we can learn from that. We can look at what other people did, for example, with a layout, and get inspired by other designers.
Of course, as a reference.
Of course. So I already started doing some things, and I think maybe instead of just picking one card design, we'll just be building to this collection. So you can see I have some empty boards here, and we'll be copying, pasting some of the things we created yesterday and adding new content to sort of build to this one. Right. So let's have a look at some of these.
I love these. I love all the applications you did, the colors. It goes really good together.
You know what? I actually used some tricks I knew would work more or less. So I'm happy to share all of these with you. So just bear in mind. Okay. So for example, we're starting, and by the way, this is a slogan that was suggested yesterday, Wake Me Up in 2021. Yes. And I used the shortcut, but that's the same as before, so I'm not recording it. And this one is a working tagline for our postcards. But since we'll be creating more than one, if there are other suggestions, just keep them going in the chat. Okay, so here is something. So what I did here, sometimes it really works if you just champion typography, such as Wolf Ollins did. So here we had in the background, I have one of the typefaces that you chose yesterday.
Yeah, which brings me, to my question that maybe can be helpful for the viewers. Which is like, the general question that we always ask designers working with typography. How do you choose the font, the right font? And I know that we mentioned the Adobe fonts family that we have right now and all the softwares. So what are the requirements, for example, for you to choose a font? Is it like how beautiful it is, or if it works with the boldness? Like any tips, for example, on choosing the right font for your work?
Oh God, completely, just honestly, that can take ages. And sometimes choosing a typeface is the most time-consuming part.
Of course.
But I would say the first question, especially in the branding / creative world, is, and especially in the UK, you always start with the brand personality. You always start with what this company or it's never just a logo. So what this brand character is, why is it important? Who's the audience? Should it be funny and cool, or should it be more sophisticated? Yeah. And these questions determine all your choices, but specifically a typeface. So for example, if you had, let's copy this text for a second, I'll delete it later. So if you had, let's say, Brown and Associates. So let's say this is our law firm. I will quickly change some type settings. And and you can see that, so let's say this is our law firm and you're designing a logo for them. It will look differently if you have a typeface like this, and it will look differently in Comic Sans. It will look differently, let's say, what we can, for example, let's say this one wouldn't work for law firm. This one I have here. This one would be cool for like a leaflet or maybe a poster for a cultural event, but that one wouldn't be okay for a law firm. I even say this one is a bit too quirky. Probably something sophisticated and serious, like how would Garamond work? Let's see.
Yeah, of course, in the end, you have a logo or a typeface also communicates the brand or the message.
For sure.
So you have to decide on the feeling that you get when you see it. And we have here Stefan saying that he likes Papyrus, which we mentioned yesterday with the Comic Sans fonts. Maybe it's gonna come back to be a trend. We never know.
I mean, you know what? It's just, again, we talked yesterday about things like nostalgia and just experimenting. It's so wonderful. In design, so many things have been done. So sometimes you just need to be weird. You need to, if you feel that you can't do it or it's a bad idea to use Comic Sans, you really need to experiment and see, because who knows? Okay. Let me just show you a bit here what I did yesterday, and just in the beginning, so we can start actually designing something. Right. So here I placed this large type at the bottom, and I thought that this space here was a little bit empty. So what we can do is, we can fill it somehow artificially. We can draw a shape, align it, or we can use some of our illustrations. I think we need to bear in mind that our postcard will probably be either A6 or A5. Look at the cool paper I have; it's like a very crafty. Yes, so I have one sketchbook like this. So we need to bear in mind that this will likely be our postcard, maybe a bit bigger. So it really works well if the idea is simple and big bold shapes. This is one way to go. So I had this 2021 thing, and I was thinking, what could we put at the top to actually fill it?
Mm-hmm.
So it should be simple. It should be maybe something from the typeface. So I was trying to do yesterday, I was actually taking the letters from the typeface to create either arrow-like shapes or just some weird shapes, which could, like some geometric shapes, which could basically fill that space. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite tools is Pathfinder.
Of course, the good old Pathfinder.
Yes. So normally, if it was a logo, or if I had more time, or if we weren't live, you need to clean like all this. You need to have all the anchor points aligned. But let's pretend that we did all that. So just I'll quickly. I don't want this to read as letters. I want it to actually be
an element.
Something else. What I'm doing right now, this is another, not sure if this is a shortcut, but so I need to press R, that's for rotation, and by clicking Option key and by pressing Option key and clicking my mouse, then it can immediately rotate. So let's do it like that. We can use it for a pattern later. So maybe we just need to build something weird, or maybe we just need to fill this space somehow. And it doesn't.
We have a suggestion from Stuart. Angle it with the W would be cool. Angle it with the W from Wake Me Up. Yeah, could be. We can try it out.
So sorry, because W from the typeface, right?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. So it can be kind of like the line coming in, maybe.
Okay.
You could try it out.
Okay, let's try that. So,
Another thing, sorry, another thing that, we designers kind of tend to forget is the glyphs, because, when you design a typography, you also design specific characters that you can find in the glyphs. Is that right? I don't know in this font, and if there's some cool symbols, but that's something to consider, whenever you try a new type of font or a new asset.
So this typeface doesn't have any unusual glyphs, but I know if you want to look for it in Illustrator, they're under this type menu, so they are here.
Yes.
But you can, if it was a logo or a whole visual system, it's a good tip to use the type structure to determine other bits of layout, for example. W could be cool because W is a letter like almost like a little wiggle. Yeah. So let's see. I'll just outline it, which was a shortcut. Ooh. Hold on, I need to ungroup it. Oh God, another shortcut.
Today. We also have one in the chat. Jacqueline mentioned that we can add later on.
Oh, hold on. I'll just write. So that was, and then command.
Oh, Sandrine was it? Sorry, Jacqueline. Well, both.
Oh, Sandrine.
So Sandrine suggested.
Hi, Sandrine.
Hi, Sandrine. And Jacqueline. So Sandrine said Control J. That's one, and then Control.
Oh yes, Control or Command. Command.
And
combining the lines, she means, right? I think.
Yeah, to join things, and then we have another one with 7 and 8. Compound path.
Okay, we'll have to make a list of all these.
Yeah, we can do it on Discord later on.
Okay, so I'm doing. You know what's freaking me out? Like sometimes you just don't even register that you're using shortcuts, but this is exactly something I started to notice when I started working at Illustrator on the iPad, because it's such a different system, and the iPad doesn't allow you for all the shortcuts. So then I was like, okay, that's why Illustrator on the desktop is probably my thing. Okay, so this is group and ungroup. Okay, so let's just quickly make it bigger. Oh, it's like a crown. Oh, that's cool. And using the Pathfinder. I'm not deleting this one yet, because currently what you're doing when you're working on, as a designer, when you're working on branding, this is actually how your working space often looks. So you're just developing some ideas, moving to the next one, not finishing them, and then you're discussing it with your team.
Of course, yeah, and you take some from each artboard that you created.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so I wanted to show you something I recently learned. If there are any illustrators in the audience, this will probably won't be a secret for you. Let me copy this one here. So do you know this little grain that is often placed on illustrations? And often, this is something here, and often just creates depth for some of the objects. Something like that. Let me ungroup it. So this is an artwork I created earlier, but can you see it has these little speckles here?
Yeah, it's like a filter or something.
And often you see it, illustrators can use it in such a creative way, but it's relatively, is it simple? Well, maybe it's not. There are a couple of steps to get it right, but once you know it, it's relatively easy to manage later on. So we will, let me just leave it here because this one is a little bit weirder with that one. Maybe I'll align it okay. But let's just do it on our 2021. Ideally, probably would want to do it on all the letters. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm using, let's record these shortcuts later. I'm using Command C, so I'm copying it, and I'm using Command F, which is paste in front. So currently I have the same shape, the same two placed one on top of the other. And with the one on top, what I will do, I will find my transparency menu, which is here. And I will make a mask. Yeah, and then this is actually, so I actually learned it from a tutorial, and the trickiest part is to move between these two squares. So let me just go into the mask one, and here I will paste the shape again.
So here will be, what we're gonna do right now is recreate what you've done in the other piece, right? Which is like that kind of effect.
Yes, so we will create that effect, which can work well on either your illustrations or if you have large geometric chunks, such as we do with typography, because that will give it a little bit more depth. Or we can pretend this is snow, so we will do the speckles in white.
We actually have a suggestion for messaging for holiday.
Oh, yes.
Let it snow, let it snow. So maybe we can combine both concepts together.
Are we joined by anyone who's currently in a country when it's snowing?
Oh, I believe so, right? I mean, in my case, no, but I'm sure we have some viewers here where it's pretty snowing and with no sun, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think, you know, because I'm currently, so I'm based in the UK most of the time, but currently I'm in Poland. When I was little, it used to snow here, but not anymore. It's just that global warming creeping up.
Global warming. Hello, global warming.
Okay, just to recap what I just did. So this is our tool that we have in our mask section. What I did, I added a gradient to it. And I will right now jump back to the object square, and let me just quickly change the color so it's visible what's happening. Let me change this. Should I go? Maybe let's not go white, because it will be more visible when we actually using something different than the background. So let me just use this navy here and go back to the transparency menu. So currently what we have, you can see this shape is disappearing a little bit. We can modify that by pressing G with a gradient stripe, which is very intuitive. We can also rotate it, which I think could work for us neatly. Let's just do it like that. And what we need to do right now is actually, so we are here, we are in the mask section, and let's go into effects, texture, and then you press grain. It will open this window. Let me just quickly change fit in view. I mean, this is something, obviously you can pick whatever you want here. It won't be final because you can still edit it from your appearance menu, which we will see in a second. But let's just move these sliders. It needs to be stippled for this effect, but have a look what these other effects do. So it will be different texture, obviously, with depending on what you pick. But for this particular effect that so many illustrators are using, then do stipples. So I'll
add on the color in there, or you cannot add more colors to it. So it's like purple, for example.
I mean, you can add a lot of colors for sure, and definitely experiment with that. The reason why we do black and white for this one is, for the mask, is to have the highest contrast in a way from light to shadow. So we're not really treating, we're not really treating black and white as colors here, but as light and shadows.
Yeah.
Okay, so see what it happened. And
Yeah.
I can, and if I go back, so you just need to be conscious of where you are, whether you're in the mask section, because right now I'm actually moving the mask, which could be a cool effect by itself, or whether you're in the object section. If you want to change the color of the speckles, you need to go back to the object section.
That was there. That's amazing. Wow.
So these are actually, so which color do you want of the speckles?
I would say orange. I love the orange you chose and the colors.
Interesting. So yeah, so this is the color from our orange palette. So let's just keep it here. And then, yeah, hold on, that it wasn't selected. Yeah, and
I love not your typical green and red holidays. So I love how, you know, we're adding some craziness here.
Oh, I think we should, because it's always like, when it's glitchy or when it's something different, then it's just somehow interesting. Hold on, let me just check some of the colors. So this is the procedure, and it really, I think I won't do all the letters because that would take too much time, but it's a cool way of adding some texture into your designs and of just making it weirder somehow. So for example, this weird shape, this is something I did earlier. And I will definitely encourage you to experiment with that. Hold on. Oh yeah, I'm in a different layer. That's why I can't. It's really weird because I'm also using a different keyboard, which is like from Norway or something. So some of the shortcuts, like some of the shortcuts are crazy. Let me just go with this to the top, like very slower way.
I remember once when I bought my MacBook from the States, I didn't realize that the keyboards are different in Europe and in the US. It was a nightmare. But so you got yours from Norway. Is that also
No, because what happened, I had to leave my iMac in the UK when I came to Poland.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah. So so I'm just borrowing my boyfriend's computer right now. Oh, I mean, this is chaotic really right now.
Oh, survival kit. A keyboard in your holiday survival kit. That could be something to consider from the stickers.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so this became really chaotic very quickly, which I apologize for.
Isn't that the brain of the designer? You have so many things.
Potentially. But this is really like, if you finish it with that, if you have large type and some little details, then it can look really, really lovely. Because some type, just large type, might not be enough to make it different. So you want something
that you used?
Sorry, I didn't quite get it.
Was that a shortcut you just used to change the lines?
God, no, that was I think did I use Pathfinder and aligning? Hopefully. Oh, this is hard. I can't give you exactly. I can't tell you exactly what I did just a second ago. All right. What do we do right now? I think we can also copy some of these numbers and create weird shapes, but this is really experimenting. Anyhow, one of our cards, let's have it, if you're designing alongside with me, have some bigger type in the bottom layer and then create your message at the top, and then experiment with all these different textures to add to the letters and see what you come up with. Just as a reminder, that was through masks, and then here it was texture grain. Nice. Okay, what else? Another thing that's a really quick win and what really works well is something that's happening here in this postcard and potentially in this one here with a cassette. So Another quick win is to look at your format and somehow plan it evenly so that you have, let's say, text in one part of the format, your illustration in the other, and just something else over there. So here I divided it into four, but you can see, for example, on this postcard, it's divided into two. And maybe let's do another one like that. So let me just quickly, what I usually do, I just quickly draw. You can do it with guides, but then it would be going through all of your artboards in Illustrator. So I usually just do it like with shapes.
So here we're creating the background of the holiday.
Well, a background is one way. But also I'm dividing it into two equal parts, which we will fill with something.
Okay.
And again, we're thinking about our small space of the card. So we want it to be exciting, but it still needs to be legible and it still needs to serve its purpose. Okay, so we probably need to use our tagline somewhere. So that one was here. So I'll just drag it, and by using a shortcut, which was and this is my keyboard from Norway. I actually don't know what's here, but this is bring to front. I'll check it later on. Okay. That's the one I'm using a lot of the time. Okay, so let's put it in one. Where do you want it? Do you want it at the top or at the bottom?
So it really kind of depends on where the 2021 will be. Will it be fully on the background, or?
You know what we can do? We can do it, maybe let's do it this way. Maybe let's do typographic part at the bottom. I'll change the size because this is a bit too big for me. And I'll go 60 with the leading as well. And why didn't it change? All right, I know why. It didn't change because I didn't have the whole thing selected, which you can select it by using Command A.
Command A.
Okay, so let's have it a little bit smaller. We'll do 2021 bigger again so that it matches our postcard collection.
Yes.
How can we maybe fit it here? I really need to align it left, don't I?
Just a reminder for everyone, yesterday we retraced more than a couple of nice elements using the brush tool on iPad. And right now we're working on the typography. We're setting up the message, of course, and then we will be adding the elements once we have the structure well placed, just like Weronika is doing right now. So we're adding the Wake Me Up in 2021. We're trying to figure out where to add the other elements. I guess we're going to be adding a little more colors, right, Weronika?
We can do it right now. So I was thinking that maybe the bottom part of the card, that's more minimal, and that's just based on the text. What can I put here? Hello, Mom. There you go. Or hello, Tommy. My mom is not watching though. She's doing something. Well, she's doing mom stuff probably. So she's not. And I was thinking, in the top one, how about we use some of our elements and either put an illustration in, or maybe create a quick pattern. So sort of like, you know what I did. So, you know, when I had these arrows yesterday, so I actually added them to my swatches, like quick composition, and I created a pattern out of them. So maybe there is a way to use some of our illustration and include it. Okay, let's delete Hello Mom. This is too big. I think there should be some text here, but a smaller one. Maybe I take one here just to balance. This is something about typographic hierarchy, but there should be some. It's currently lorem ipsum, I think, but there should be some smaller text. This is from our type kit that we chose yesterday. Okay, so let's think about illustrations or patterns. So here are all the things that we have, and some of the things we traced yesterday and some of the things I traced after the stream. So out of these illustrations, which one do you want me to use?
Let's see, do you have anyone in the chat that has any recommendations on which one to use in the holiday card? We have the cassette tape, we have the yellow hands, we have the vintage desktop computer, the
leaves here. Then we have
the statue,
Greek man statue.
We have so we have so we have we have suggestions to use the hands, the pink tape. Should we add something else?
Oh, the pink tape, because the pink tape, this is actually a photo that will mean changing the colors. But I'm up for that. We can do that.
Let's change the taste.
I mean, this is our card. We can experiment with things. If it were our real project and the real commission, then we might have do that as well. So
yeah, of course. Why not experiment? You might change your client's opinion in the end.
There you go. So what I will quickly do, and I believe that is already on the shortcut board. If not, we will edit. I will quickly change all these texts to outlines so they are not editable, because I know that if we want to use it as an illustration and possibly create a pattern, it really needs to be simplified. And then let's just make it smaller so it actually fits somewhere.
We also have a vote for the red plant, so we can add that. And I did buy lots of plants this year.
I think we can do something with the plants, definitely.
It does make sense.
Oh, this is just combined of so many shapes. This one here. Let me just change this.
We have over 10 minutes a bit. Do you think we can make it, Weronika, to find
How come it passed so quickly?
Because talking to you is so much fun.
Okay, that you know what? Yeah, let's just quickly reduce the hands. And let's just, because one thing what we could do is we could use these images as illustrations, and this is something we traced yesterday, or we could also have a pattern. So let's see, with patterns, it's the way I create patterns. It's again like experimenting what will work or what won't.
Oh, I love that.
It's just a lot of tests. So currently I'm trying to, let's just have a look. Ooh. So currently I'm just experimenting with these shapes. Probably if that was my final drawing, if that was my final hand, this really should be one shape, not what I have right now, because one of these hands is like a couple of shapes. And then let's see. So the easiest way to create a pattern is just, this one actually changed, is just drag and drop it here. So let me group my elements. So it's actually one group right now. And I'll just drag it here into the swatches. And the coolest thing is, just checking what we got right now. I'm sure there is like probably an easier and more like a better way to control.
I love this. Oh my god, we should create wrapping paper. Oh my god,
yes! So that could be another thing to add in our survival kit.
I got you something else to work on today. So,
Yeah, there you go.
post it on Instagram.
So I actually quite like it when it's on white. Should we see how it looks? Hold on. Oh, yeah, I wasn't on this artboard. Sorry. So let's just...
How awesome is that? I want that holiday card. We should produce it for next year.
Well, who knows? And I realized I didn't change the cassette to pink. But
I think it looks pretty
that
cool.
would be...
Oh, that's actually pretty nice. It goes well with the orange.
Or red. Yeah, there's actually a lot of these designs. I don't know when that trend started, either in 2020 or 2019. Let me just press my X key really quickly and go without strokes. So I don't know when this trend started, but a lot of companies and a lot of designers started combining red and pink together. And I think it looks so well, because some people could argue that the legibility is bad, but it actually works weirdly. And let's see, we can add more pink. We can just add different layers of pink.
Oh, so flashy. I love this.
So there you go. This is like another card right now. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably, like, something here would probably need to be developed further. I don't think, or maybe should we keep it like minimal? Because normally it works when it's in design, it works when you have some context and some contrast. So currently you have in this card, you have a lot of elements at the top. And the bottom is quite minimal, but maybe there is a way of making it more exciting. I don't know. Try that and let me know.
It's pretty nice. Oh, apparently the reduced cassette reminds Angus of a sardine tin. So, win-win situation.
Oh, this, you know what, when in between the lockdowns, I was actually able to visit, to go to Portugal.
Oh, beautiful.
And they have some of the most beautiful sardine cans, like very elaborate, very just filled with illustrations, which I think if anyone from Portugal is listening to us, it's really something.
Yeah, totally. And I also noticed my last trip to Glasgow, the beer cans were also very well considered. Like, there's these awesome designs on them, and I just love how, we're putting more attention to packaging these days.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it always starts with a company, but I think the more the market changes, the more the owners of such beer labels, they start to notice.
Yeah.
So you can see what I'm doing right now. I'm just using basically the shape of tool to add some abstract strokes and abstract shapes, just to add something in the background. And it can be even crazier if I manipulate the mask here.
So
it's challenging for my internet connection though, because having Zoom on and having that's like I can see my Illustrator going slower. It's normally much faster. So if you do it without streaming live, then you shouldn't have issues.
So now, what else are we designing both at the same time, or three? We have three.
Yes, we're designing all of them at the same time. Really, this is how. So normally, because this is really real world designing, I think. If you are printing a holiday card, you will print this holiday card. Maybe it's one, maybe it's more than one. But in reality, if you're working on it, this is how your board will probably look. So you will have some ideas which aren't finished, some ideas which are better than the others, and some ideas worth developing. So probably, if you are either designing with me or if you will design your holiday cards, probably what I would do right now at this stage, I would just look at my whole document, and I would create I would either duplicate it, or I would create a new document and like take 3 cards for developing further, just to sort of have a clean slate and not have all these visual things looking at you.
That's very wise advice. Thank you. That will be helpful, you know, for anyone that is working right now. Oh, we actually have someone, Tiny T, that is working on an assignment currently, and apparently he's getting very inspired from what we're doing today.
Oh, lovely! Oh, amazing! Please send me also, if for any of you, if you have, if you're designing the cards, your holiday cards or holiday posts or whatever, please send me the links to these using my on my Instagram, and I will post some of these in my stories, because that would be, and we would have like a whole collection.
Yeah, of course, and it would be nice to see everything we created also, hopefully on your stories or post on Instagram, so we can, you know, get back to it and, you know, even share it around to people, because I know it might be hard to actually produce them, so it could be also sent digitally.
I mean, we can just go to the printer. That's not as as hard.
Just in case, you know, you never know.
But I think if you're working, I think holiday cards, this is just something, this is like a mini poster or mini book cover, so it should be impactful. So spend at least, I would say the biggest advice is probably to spend at least a day just playing around and creating. So the weirder the better. Sometimes a mistake you make can actually end up being something wonderful, and sometimes and some of the ideas won't work. This is just, sometimes it happens, but just giving yourself enough time for that exploration stage is crucial, and then you just fine tune.
Of course, you always find your way, you know, but it's an ongoing learning process, and you just have to trust it and just go crazy as much as you can. Of course, following the client's needs in case it's a client work. But yeah, just as long as you put your work into it and your inspiration, I think it's worth the try and worth your time.
Yeah, that was like a twist with these shortcuts. I really didn't record everything. I'll probably have to.
So let's take, I'm going to take a quick screenshot so we can add it to the Discord channel.
Okay, I have to check what this key is.
Awesome. So Weronika, it was so lovely to talk to you again today and to see the amazing holiday cards. Did you want to write actually a 5th shortcut? I don't want to cut you. Were you writing?
Oh, you know what? I'll just probably, I'll just look at my process again, and I'll probably finish a list of the shortcuts and put it on Discord, like maybe top 10 I'm using.
Perfect.
I'll write it down. Probably tomorrow, though.
Yeah, or tonight. You never know if you're being
in the middle of the night. Expect that.
So thank you, Weronika. It's been absolutely fun. Thank you so much for your inspiring feedback, you know, and teaching us new tools in your own technique and working in Illustrator. I want to thank everyone who joined us today, all the amazing viewers, our old fans and our new visitors. Thank you so much. We're very happy we're able to, you know, to inspire you while you know, you're working on your current project, or even, you know, working on a future thing that is your own personal project. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget that you can join, you can keep the conversation in Discord. We have the link shared here in the chat, and we are live every day from 12 to 1. So stay tuned for tomorrow's stream. Thank you, Weronika, and a big hug, virtual hug to everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yay. Take care. Bye.
Bye.